that yes, the president has very timely declared his preference for the termination of the VFA. But number two, is the Duterte administration prepared to face bigger challenges? And I think the bigger challenge here is that among many others is that if the assertion is very strong with regard to the termination of the VFA, regardless of the other factors, the U.S. and this is the reason why the Duterte administration should be prepared for this, is that one, it will invite strong diplomatic reaction and sanctions from the U.S. The diplomatic sanctions would include like limiting or even restricting visa applications to the U.S. It could even invite probably some retaliatory action against Filipinos living or working in the U.S. So that's one. Another possible retaliatory measure or action that will be coming from the U.S. is military sanctions. Of course, immediately we expect that there will be an immediate cut, if not total a removal of U.S. military assistance, and that will, of course, draw reactions from the Philippine, especially from the Philippine military. Not to mention, of course, other economic sanctions like trade, trade embargoes or trade restrictions, as we have seen in the case of China and in so many other countries throughout the world. And they have the capability to do that, especially because right now I think the U.S. Congress is talked with regard to foreign policy and military bases in the Philippines or military forces in the Philippines. They have a bilateral or bicameral thinking about this. Now, my second point is it is about time that at the very least, the VFA and other treaties or agreements with the US should be reviewed. It's about time. It has been long, matagal nang nananawagan yung ilang mga sektor, mga Pilipino na i-review. Some people have been calling, in fact, on these oversight committees of both the House and the Senate to review the treaties. The controversial thorny issues, I think, that will be raised in this possible review agenda would be, is the VFA, and for that matter, other agreements with the U.S., is it merely an executive agreement without the ratification of the Philippine Senate? For that matter, the MDT, the VFA, the EDCA, and the Mutual Logistics Support Agreement did not require a ratification to just show some kind of a reciprocal unfair view about this. Did not require the ratification of the U.S. Senate. Sabi ng U.S., it's a given. Whether it is ratified or not, it's still an agreement. But of course, that is a very controversial issue. My last point is that is the treaty system with the U.S. and the overall alliance system with the U.S. Between the Philippines and the U.S. is that beneficial to the Philippines? We have seen, of course, that particularly in the case of the VFA, there have been many irritants, particularly on the criminal jurisdiction by the Philippine courts. Remember the case of Jennifer Laude in 2004 and 2007, and then 2014, Nicole. And then there was this case of a 12-year-old child who was the victim of rape, although this was way back in 1987. The girl eventually died, and the American servicemen accused of the crime just ran scot-free, outside the arms of the Philippines. And there are many other cases that are not reported. I think it is not beneficial, and some military officials are already talking about this, that in the sense that it has made the Philippine armed forces more and more dependent on the U.S. Remember that the U.S. military has been here in the Philippines not only this year, not only last decade, but since 1947, and in fact for 100 years. And the Philippine military has been so much dependent, not only in terms of operations, intelligence, surveillance, technology, etc., but also in terms of, well, military training and so on and so forth, and cyber tactics, no? So this is something that is really a question to whether is the Philippines really sovereign? Is the Philippines really independent when its whole military policy or program is dependent on another country? I would like, I just wanted to point out some more, but I think I'll just defer to any forum questions that will be raised in this particular body. Maraming salamat, Wilson.